Yes, good evening all of you. So welcome to Angular 8 demo session. Okay, so today we are going to see a demo on Angular 8. So this is purely a demo on Angular 8. So we'll understand what is Angular 8, why we have to use Angular 8, and where is this Angular 8 used in developing applications. So these are the things what we are going to understand today. Right, so in this demo session, we are going to understand first of all what is Angular 8, where we have to use Angular 8, next why Angular 8, and finally what are the advantages of using Angular 8 as a UI technology. So this is the concern of this demo session. Is that fine, all of you? Right, so if you have any queries, I'm going to address all your queries at the end of the session. Right. So let's start with the session. So in this session, we are going to understand 4 important things. Right, so hope my screen is visible for everybody. Right, guys? Right, so my screen is visible for everybody. You can just ping me on the chat window. Right, so thanks for your confirmation. So this session is all about Angular 8 with free TypeScript. Okay, and what we are going to understand in demo session. First of all, what is Angular? Okay, where we use Angular. Next, what is TypeScript? Next, we'll understand why Angular, and we'll also understand what is framework. So these are the 5 topics which we are going to understand today. So first one, what is Angular, where we use Angular, what is TypeScript, what is framework, and why we have to use Angular in developing applications as a UI technology. Right, so let's start with what is Angular. Now the simple definition for Angular is, so Angular is a client-side TypeScript framework for developing dynamic web applications. So what is Angular? Okay, so Angular is a client-side TypeScript framework for developing dynamic web applications. So if you want to develop dynamic web applications, okay, then we have to go for Angular. So it is a TypeScript framework. It is a TypeScript framework for developing dynamic web applications. Okay, right. So now, what is web? So web is nothing but internet. App is nothing but application. So internet applications are technically known as websites. For example, gmail.com, facebook.com, yahoo.com. Is it okay, all of you? Right. So next thing, we'll understand once again what is Angular. But before that, I just want to confirm once again, ma. So these Angular sessions, okay. So for this Angular sessions, we are going to have 50 sessions, okay. And in this Angular session, first week, so first week I'm giving free TypeScript. So I'm going to discuss complete free, okay. So because Angular is a Angular is a client-side TypeScript framework. Okay, so most of you know what is JavaScript, but TypeScript is also invented 23 years before, but it is not that popular when compared to the JavaScript. Now TypeScript is very much used in developing Angular applications. Your Angular application is completely based on TypeScript only. So first 1 week I'm going to discuss free TypeScript, each and every topic in TypeScript: data types, variables, functions, classes, objects, interfaces, packages, modules, okay, anonymous functions, arrow functions, everything I'm going to discuss. And after that only I'm going to start with Angular. Okay, and next, daily the session timings are 8 p.m. okay, and daily it will be 1 hour. So daily it will be 1 hour. And next important thing is that I'm also going to provide every session is recorded. Okay, so every session is recorded, ma. See, when I'm giving you the lecture, there is a small delay, okay, in my writing as well as the screen. Okay, fine. But when I'm doing the recording, in recording, my writing, my audio, and my display, everything will be synced. Is that okay, all of you? Yes, Jugantar Sharma, is that okay? Everything will be synced in the recording, and that recording I'm going to provide you through Google Drive sharing for all the students. Okay, those who have subscribed, those who have joined for this Angular session. So every session will be recorded. Okay, and next thing, recordings will be provided to students. So recordings will be provided to the students. And next, for every session, notes or material will be provided. Okay, so for every session, notes or material will be provided. And finally, one thing, recorded videos. Next, notes or material will be given daily basis, right? So it will be given on the daily basis for all the students, and this will be done sharing with Google Drive. Okay, so this will be done sharing with my Google Drive, and my Google Drive account is, so my Gmail ID is srikanth.sai.online@gmail.com. So this is my email ID. So this is for your confirmation that total sessions will be 50 plus sessions. Okay, sometimes I may take some extra session also, 50 plus session. And first 1 week will be completely free TypeScript, and daily timing is 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. daily 1 hour it will be, and every session will be recorded and recordings will be provided to the students, and for every session notes and material will also be provided. And next thing is that recording videos, notes or material will be given on daily basis. On daily basis I'm going to share this through Google Drive, G Drive, and this is my G Drive ID or Gmail ID, srikanth.sai.online@gmail.com. Right, so first 1 week will be the TypeScript. Is that okay, all of you? Right, so let's start with what is Angular. So Angular is a client-side framework for developing dynamic web applications. Okay, so what is web? Web is nothing but internet. And what is app? App is nothing but application. And technically, these internet applications are called as websites. For example, you have many websites: www.gmail.com, www.facebook.com, and next www.yahoo.com. So to develop dynamic web applications, we use client-side TypeScript framework known as Angular. Okay, right. So next thing is that we'll understand what is this dynamic applications. So dynamic applications. So dynamic applications means data or information in website changes with respect to three parameters. With respect to three parameters. And first parameter is with respect to time, 2 with respect to location, and 3 with respect to user. Okay, so time to time information or data in your website will be changed. So the best example for this is time to time changing is news update. Okay, so news update applications like Google News, Yahoo News, these will be changing from time to time. And next, location to location, for example, weather reporting. So weather reporting will be changing from location to location. And finally, user to user. So user to user, we have something like Gmail and Facebook. So if I log in with my Gmail ID, I'll be getting my mails, sent items, outbox and folders. If you log in with your ID, you will be getting your inbox data. So same as in the case with Facebook also, if I log in with my ID, I'm going to get my post, I'm going to get my groups, I'm going to get my friends list. Same is the case if you're doing with your ID. So this is what is we call it as dynamic applications. So dynamic applications means data or information in a website changes with respect to three parameters. One, time to time, location to location, and user to user. So this is what is we call it as dynamic web application. Now, the very common doubt most of the students have, and that common doubt is, okay, Angular JS, okay, and Angular, right? So most of the students think Angular JS is the first version, Angular is the second version. So this is completely wrong. Okay, so Angular JS is JavaScript framework, whereas Angular is TypeScript framework. Both are not same. Okay, and next thing is that Angular JS is not first version of Angular. Okay, Angular JS is not first version of Angular. And next thing, Angular is separate framework. Angular is a separate framework and not related to Angular JS. Okay, so this is the first thing what we have to understand. Angular JS is a JavaScript framework, whereas Angular is a TypeScript framework. Okay, both are not same, right? So we have to note this point. Angular JS is a JavaScript framework, whereas Angular is a TypeScript framework. So we'll understand what is the TypeScript also, and what are the advantages of developing dynamic web applications using TypeScript when compared to Angular JS, JavaScript, or any other JavaScript libraries. Okay, right. And similarly, Angular JS is not the first version. Angular JS is not the first version of Angular. Okay, so most of the people understand wrongly this in the market. They think Angular JS is the first version, but that is completely wrong. And next thing, Angular is a separate framework. It is nowhere related to Angular JS. So simply we can say that Angular JS is something like Java, and you can say something like Angular is something like .NET. Okay, for example, if you take Java, in Java also we have object oriented programming. And next, if you take .NET, in .NET also we have object oriented programming. So using object oriented programming, we can develop computer applications. Okay, so what is the use of object oriented programming? OOP, used to develop computer applications. Okay, but Java is a separate programming language and .NET is a separate programming language. In both of them we have OOPs. We have abstraction, we have encapsulation, we have inheritance, we have polymorphism, but both are separate programming languages. In the same way, AngularJS is a JavaScript framework, whereas Angular is a TypeScript framework. Both are not same. So this is what is the first thing which we have to understand: AngularJS and Angular. And the latest version of Angular is 8, and this is released just 10 days before May 28th 2019. Okay, so May 28th 2019. And next thing is that what we can do in AngularJS, we can do that in Angular very flexible, simple and easy, with more features and with good performance. So that is what is the difference between AngularJS and Angular. Both are used to develop dynamic web applications, but AngularJS is based on JavaScript, whereas Angular is based on TypeScript. Okay, right. Next we'll understand developing a website. So whenever you want to develop a website, we use three-tier architecture. In three-tier architecture or model, we have client, we have server, we have database. Okay, so I'm going to show you one small example of this three-tier architecture. Okay, so let us take an example of this three-tier architecture. So in this three-tier architecture or model, we have client, right? So I'll just make a small diagram for you. Right, so we'll take a small client here. Right, so this is our client. So client is nothing but browser. Okay, so client is nothing but our browser. Right, so client is nothing but the browser. So browser will make a request to the server for accessing the websites. Okay, so we'll take one small server here. So this is our server. So in server, we use technologies like Java, we use technologies like .NET, we use technologies like PHP, we use technologies like Python. We use technologies like Python. So these are called as server-side technologies. And finally, if you see here, we have one database also. Okay, so database is nothing but the backend storage. So we call it as database. So the commonly used databases are something like we have Oracle, we have MySQL, and next we also have something like SQL Server. Right, so these are some commonly used databases which are available in the market as the backend. Okay, so client will make a request to the server, right? Right, and server will accept your request, process the request, and finally server will be giving you response back to the client. Response back to the client. So here two things are going to happen from client to the server. So one, request will happen, and two, response will happen. Response is sent back to the client. So request, and then finally you will be getting the response. We'll be getting response back to the client. So client will make a request to the server, server will accept your request, process your request, and give the response back to the client. Now this server side technologies will communicate with the databases to get dynamic information which changes with respect to time, with respect to location, and with respect to user. Okay, so server side technologies will be communicating with databases to get dynamic data or information. So with respect to time, with respect to location, and with respect to user. So those are called as dynamic applications. Okay. So similarly, here server will be communicating with database. So server will be communicating with databases. Right. So you can take this as a communication between server and the client. So this is how a communication will happen between server. Okay, so this will communicate with the server. Right. So the server side technologies are Java, next .NET, Python, and PHP. And coming to the database technologies, we have something like Oracle. Okay, we have MySQL, we have SQL Server, we have Ingress, PostgreSQL, etc. And client side, we are going to use UI technologies. Okay, so on the client side, we are going to use UI technologies. So these UI technologies are mainly three things. First one, HTML. Second one, 2, CSS. 3, JavaScript. Okay, so optionally I'm going to write it here as TypeScript also. Right, so this is 3-tier architecture. So in this 3-tier architecture, client is known as tier 1. So client is known as tier 1. So tier 1 is also known as presentation. Okay, or it is also known as front end. So tier 1 is also known as presentation, or it is also known as front end. Right, so similarly server is known as tier 2. It is known as tier 2. So in this tier 2, we do business logic. It is called as middleware. It is called as middleware, and in this middleware we are going to perform business logic. Right, and finally we have tier 3. So this tier 3 is known as storage layer. So tier 3 is known as storage layer. Right. So whatever the data we use in our application, we store that permanently in tier 3. Storage layer. Okay. And it is also called as backend. It is also called as backend. Right. So this is what is about tier 1. Okay. Presentation layer or front end. Tier 2, business logic layer or middleware, and finally tier 3, which is called as data storage layer or backend. So this is what is 3-tier architecture of developing any web application on internet. So client will make a request to the server, server will accept the request, process the request, and send the response back to the client. And server will communicate with the backend technologies to get dynamic information, that information which changes with respect to time, location, and user. And finally, server will process that data and send that as a response back to the client. And in server, we are going to use all these UI technologies. 1 HTML, 2 CSS, 3 JavaScript or framework for developing a web application. And in the browser, using these technologies only, our web page will be displayed. Is it okay, all of you? So this is what is about three-tier architecture of developing any dynamic web application. Okay, so tier 1 client, tier 2 server, and tier 3 database, permanent storage of data. And tier 1 is important for us. Here we are going to use UI technologies, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And now in Angular we are going to use the TypeScript. Okay, right, so let's get back to the concept. Okay, next, so in the client we use the browser, and browser is used to display the web page. So for developing any web page, we use three technologies: 1 HTML, 2 CSS, and 3 JavaScript. So HTML is mainly used for displaying the data. So displaying the data means we use heading, we use bold, we use italics, we use paragraphs, we use tables, we use list, we use forms, etc. And it concentrates only on how to display the data to the user. Next, CSS is used inside the HTML to make your data stylish. Okay, so CSS is used to make your data stylish. So CSS stands for cascading style sheets. So HTML is mainly used to display the data, and CSS is mainly used to make your data stylish. And finally, JavaScript. So HTML and CSS does not have programming capability. So to have programming capability in a web page, we are going to use JavaScript. And alternatively, today in Angular, we are going to use TypeScript. Okay, so TypeScript is superset of JavaScript. So we can do better programming when compared to JavaScript. So why we can do better programming is in TypeScript we have more features when compared to JavaScript. So let us understand how TypeScript is more superior when compared to JavaScript. Right, so TypeScript is nothing but a scripting language, same like JavaScript, which is used to do programming in a web page. And TypeScript is a superscript of JavaScript. It is developed by Microsoft company, and it is strictly a typed language. So typed language means it supports data types, it supports classes. Classes means variables and functions. It supports interfaces, it supports inheritances. Okay, it supports modules, it also supports lambda functions or anonymous functions, etc. So this is what is the main advantage of TypeScript when compared to JavaScript. So we have more programming capability in HTML web page. Okay, so more programming capability in HTML web page when compared to JavaScript. Right, so once again I'll repeat, TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript. It is developed by Microsoft. It is strictly typed language. It supports data types, classes, interfaces, modules, lambda expressions, etc. And the main advantage is more programming capability in a HTML web page. Right, so this is what is all about, a small description of TypeScript when compared to superscript. Right, and finally we call Angular as framework. Okay, right? So Angular is a TypeScript framework. Now what do you mean by this framework? Okay, so framework is nothing but runtime library plus runtime environment, right? So framework is nothing but runtime library and runtime environment. Okay, so in this Angular we have n number of modules. Okay, so library means we'll have all predefined functions. We can use those functions in our program directly. So we have predefined modules. Okay, and in that predefined modules we are going to have classes. In that classes we are going to have the functions. So this is a predefined library and we have to use this library in our TypeScript coding, right? And we can make our application development more simple, more easy using this predefined modules, classes, and inside this classes we can use the functions. Okay, and what is this runtime environment? So runtime environment means we can execute our coding as per TypeScript standards. Okay, so whenever you are developing any Angular application, okay, so we have a live development server. In that live development server we can see how our web pages are getting executed. So runtime environment is provided by Angular. So that's why Angular is a TypeScript framework. So framework means runtime library plus runtime environment. Okay, so library means predefined modules, predefined classes, predefined functions, and runtime environment means execute our live coding as per our development, as per development means as and when we are developing we can have an environment to check how our web page look likes. Okay, right? So this is what is about runtime library plus runtime environment. And finally I want to conclude with a small one more extra definition. So basically application platform, Angular is a application platform. So Angular is a TypeScript client-side TypeScript framework for developing dynamic web application, and Angular is also a application platform. So application platform means, okay, multiple technologies can be used for dynamic web application development. So in Angular we can use multiple technologies for developing Angular applications. Now what are these multiple technologies? I'm going to discuss in the later sessions when I start with Angular also, or I'm going to discuss this in the tomorrow's demo session. Okay, and this Angular is developed by Google, support from Microsoft TypeScript. So Google plus Microsoft TypeScript. So which means that Angular is here to stay for a long run. Okay, and finally Angular is completely and newly developed by the same team of AngularJS. So the people who are working in AngularJS, the same team has developed Angular for dynamic web application development, and the main use of Angular is developing single page applications. So the best example for single page applications is Gmail, okay, Facebook, etc. So where you can do most of the website interactions in a single page. The best example is Gmail. In Gmail you can click on inbox items will be visible. You can click on send, all the sent items will be visible. You can click on folders, okay, all the folder items will be visible. So the best example is www.gmail.com. So single page application development. So this is what is all about Angular. So Angular is a TypeScript framework for developing dynamic web applications, and Angular is a application platform. So we can use multiple UI technologies in Angular to develop dynamic web applications. Right, so this is what is all about today's session, ma. And these sessions, Angular sessions, total 50 sessions. First week you'll be providing with free TypeScript, and daily timings 8 p.m. So daily 1 hour, and every session will be recorded, and recordings will be provided to the students. Along with the recording sessions, notes and materials will also be provided. I'm going to share this through the Google Drive, srikanth.sai.online@gmail.com for all the subscribed students. Right, so thank you all of you for listening to this demo session. If you have any queries, you can just ask me one by one. Is it okay, all of you? Right, so you can put your queries one by one, all of you. I'm going to reply. You can put me the questions. Yes, tomorrow also we are, Amit, tomorrow also we are going to have a demo session. In that demo session, I'm going to tell you more about Angular technically. Yes, see here, we require a running environment. So for running that environment, okay, we are going to use Node.js. I'm going to discuss this Node.js in the later session when I'm going to install TypeScript and also Angular CLI. Is that okay? Amit, Jana? Right, so the main prerequisites for Angular are, right, like you have a good question here. So I'll just put it on the notepad for all of you. Right, I'll take a new page. So what are the prerequisites for Angular? Right, so first one, the prerequisite is HTML. Second one, CSS. And third one, JavaScript basic knowledge or TypeScript. Right, so anyhow, I'm going to give you free TypeScript for the first 1 week. Is that okay, all of you? These are the three prerequisites for Angular. 1 HTML, 2 CSS, 3 JavaScript or TypeScript. Anyhow, TypeScript I'm going to provide for the first 1 week. Right. Is that okay? Right. See, because we are going to have both concept-based development as well as I'm going to include real-time application development also. Both. Because this is a education and training. First, I have to discuss concept, example, and then one real-time example also. Is that okay, Vikas? Yeah, Amit, you have a question. In 1 week TypeScript will be completed. Absolutely, I'm going to cover the maximum. You have the syllabus. You can take the Angular syllabus as well as TypeScript syllabus. Okay, from the Durgasoft online team. Is that okay, Amit? Right. Still any other queries? You can put me that in the chat window one by one, all of you. Right, so we have a question from Rohit Gupta. Which IDE will be used for Angular? Why? So we are going to use Visual Studio Code. Right? We are going to use Visual Studio Code, which is very familiar and it is 100% supported by Microsoft for developing Angular applications. Is that okay, Rohit? So once you work with Visual Studio, you can also work with other IDEs like Atom, Sublime, etc. So Visual Studio Code is very flexible. Right, yes, 8 p.m. it's India time. Is that okay? Is that okay, Jana? Yeah, it supports Java also. Yeah, Angular is a framework. Ankit, Angular is a framework. So framework means runtime library plus runtime environment. Is that okay, Ankit? Yeah, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is an editor especially used for UI technologies. Right, so as of now, we don't have any certifications for Angular since it is a UI technology. Basically, you'll have certifications for server-side technologies, okay? And like Java, .NET, all these things, okay? Right, Vikas? No, Node.js is not at all required for Angular. Is that okay, Vikas? Is that okay, Vivek? Vivek, Node.js is not at all required. Yes, I'm going to integrate. Sidhu Patil, I'm answering your question. We are going to integrate backend technologies like Java and PHP. Tomcat server, XAMPP server. Is that okay, Sidhu Patil? You can just ping me, Sidhu. We are going to integrate Java and PHP, right? Right. Ankit asked me a question. Angular is framework or environment? It is a framework. Framework means runtime library plus runtime environment. Means to execute that library, environment is also given by it. Is that okay, Ankit? Is your doubt clarified? Yes, absolutely. At the end of the session, you can create a whole web application using Angular. That's why it is called as application platform. Is it okay, Ankit? It is called as application platform. So the better is Java. So I'm going to use Java technology, right, Vikas? Right. So whether the session will be practical or theoretical, it will be 80% practical and 20% theory. Is that okay, Sidhu? 80% practicals and 20% theory. See, we are going to use advanced Java. Is that okay, Vikas? As a server-side technology. Servlets JSPs. Is that okay, Vikas? Right, so 50 plus sessions. Sidhu, it will take 50 plus session to complete the course. Right, so I'm going to provide this video in my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Sri Sai IT Hub. Is that okay? No, TypeScript is not updated version of JavaScript. TypeScript is separate, JavaScript is separate. Is that okay, Padmaja? No need to ignore JavaScript. JavaScript is here to stay. Is that okay, Padmaja? Right? JavaScript is separate and TypeScript is separate. So you're saying Java 2 to 7. What is that Java 2 to 7? All features will be covered. What is that exactly? Acha, yes, absolutely. Yeah, Angular, I'm going to cover from 2 to 7. Absolutely. Is that okay, Ankit? Yes, I'm going to show you server-side technologies using Java and PHP. Okay, so two examples I'm going to show you to communicate with server-side technology from Angular. Is that okay, Vikas? Right, still any other queries, other guys? So I can see only two of them are answering. Shivam, Sai, Nabin, others? Any queries? Just put me on the chat window. Sai, Shivam Tomar, Sutan, Swapna, Vivek. Yeah, no doubts as of now, it's okay. Right, Shivam? Sutan, no. Vivek, no. Okay, right. Next, Swapna. Okay, I got your confirmation. Yeah, material will be provided soft copy and it will be shared through Google Drive. Is that okay, Vikas? Right. Still any other queries from all of you? Sidhu, any queries? Right, Sidhu, you can ask the question. You can put me that in the chat window. Right, Sai, do you have any questions? Simon, Simony. Right, thanks for your confirmation. Padmaja, any other queries? Right, Angular 8, do we have any special features are included apart from the, yes, right. See, basically in Angular 8, we have got some development uh, updations. So what are those development updations which increases in the performance of your application? I'm going to discuss that from Angular 8. So since Angular 8 is updated just 10 days before, okay, right? So maximum I'm going to cover from Angular 8 by the end of this session. Is that okay, Padmaja? Right, Sidhu Patil, yeah, React.js is not going to be covered. React.js is a separate course. Is that okay, Sidhu? Yeah, see, basically, because this is not a project based session, okay, live project is totally separate and real time examples are totally separate. Okay, so basically we are going to discuss real time examples only. This is not a live project. Is it okay, Vikas? Right, still any other queries, guys? Now as of now we don't have anything as such. If it is introduced in the future will let you know. Is that okay, Vikas? Yes, absolutely. Angular JS is by Google. Angular is also by Google plus Microsoft using TypeScript. Right, Sutan? Right. Yeah. For syllabus, you have to contact Durgasoft online team. I have given my syllabus to them, TypeScript syllabus as well as Angular syllabus. You can take from them. Is it okay? Right. See, what is the difference between Angular JS and Angular? I have just given that in the video. Okay. I have recorded the video, and this recording will also be available to you in Durga Software Solutions YouTube channel and also in my YouTube channel, Sri Sai IT Hub. Is that okay, Sidhu? And once again in the tomorrow's session, I'm going to discuss more differences between Angular JS and Angular. Is that okay, Sidhu? Tomorrow there will be one more demo session. In tomorrow's session, I'm going to discuss more about Angular JS and Angular 8 differences. Is that okay? Right. Right. If anybody wants syllabus, fee details, you have to contact the Durga Soft team. Is that okay, all of you? Right. Nabin Tapa, do you have any queries? Ankit Tiwari, any other queries from your side? Right. Thank you. Thanks for your confirmation, Ankit. Nabin Tapa, any other queries? Yes, Nabin Tapa, any other queries? And this demo session videos will be available in Durga Soft YouTube channel as well as in my YouTube channel also. Is that okay, all of you? Yes, it will be available in my YouTube channel as well as Durga Soft YouTube channel. Yes, free, for free. Free, absolutely. Right, notes will be provided free, material will be provided free, and all the videos, recordings will be free. No charge for them. It is included in the fees only. Is that okay, all of you? Right, see, I'm going to use MySQL database. Okay, you can use MongoDB, you can use SQLite, it's up to you. But I'm going to use the standard database, which is MySQL database. Is that okay, Sutan? Right, so if we use the standards in education, tomorrow you can work with any other in real-time application. That is a flexibility with the standard technologies. Right. Still any other queries? Swapna from your side? Absolutely. I'm going to help you to install each and every software, and everything will be recorded to you and provided to you. Is that okay, Vikas? Each and every software I'm going to install live in the session, and after that only I'm going to start the coding. Is it okay, all of you? Right. It's okay. It's okay, Sutan. I got you. Yeah, basically mean stack. Okay. Mean stack today, Angular is dominating mean stack. Is that okay, Sutan? Right, today Angular is dominating mean stack because in mean we use MongoDB, Express.js framework, AngularJS and Node.js. Now everything is there in Angular. That is what is the power of Angular, which is being provided by Google plus Microsoft. So you can say that Angular is going to give tough competition for all the open sources UI technologies. How far we can expect means you can expect more like Java. So Java for the last 25 years, you can expect more from Angular. Is it okay, Vikas? Right, still any other queries, guys? Vivek? Right, Vivek Jain, do you have any queries? Right, thanks for your confirmation. Next, Sidhu. Right, Sidhu, any other queries? Right. So thanks for your confirmation. Right. So we'll wind up the session for today. Okay. So tomorrow at 8 p.m. you are going to have the second demo session. Okay. So in this second demo session, I'm going to discuss more about Angular technically. So today we had a outline of Angular, but tomorrow in the demo session, I'm going to discuss more about Angular technically. Right, all of you? So we'll meet tomorrow at 8 p.m. Okay. And if anybody wants to have any information related to fees, okay, syllabus copy, you can take it from Durgasoft online team. So thank you all of you for attending this session. Good night. So see you tomorrow at tomorrow at 8 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. Right. So have a great day. We'll meet up tomorrow at 8 p.m. all of you.